Today's session is on advanced JavaScript, and before starting about JavaScript, uh, I will explain you why we use JavaScript or in a MVC architecture, why we need UI side scripting language, and how day by day JavaScript is changing, and how in ECS 6 JavaScript new terminologies introduced in ES6. So let's begin. First of all, um, let's see what's in the advanced JavaScript course, what it includes. First of all, uh, for any application front end development, we mostly use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But for any complex application, only JavaScript with the help of basic JavaScript, we can't write complex. We can't create a complex front end development because suppose we have application like Facebook, Twitter, or any big application, Instagram or something. Then there are lots of uh, what we can say transactions and lots of uh, pages are there where we show uh, complex pages. Suppose suppose on a Twitter, someone has a tweet something, or on a Facebook, someone has posted. Then in a minimal time, without waiting more on a page, we have to show newest tweet or newest post or recent post to the user, right? So if you are using any basic JavaScript or something, then we have to refresh those pages every time, correct? If those pages contains videos, images, or something, then it will take lots of time, correct? So with the help of new advanced JavaScript concepts and HTML, CSS, we can fasten our web pages, and we can do our front end UI. We can show our data in a efficient manner and without any wait of time. Okay, so with the latest version of JavaScript, we call this ES6, and with the modern user interface, uh, uh, for example, React.js library, so we can fasten our front end development. So um, in suppose we have basic JavaScript, but day by day various libraries are coming into picture. Like previously we have YUI library. After that, jQuery came into picture. After that, these new libraries came like AngularJS, React.js, and then React Native also comes. So daily a new library is coming into market. So right now, React.js have a huge market, and lots of applications are moving towards React.js. And all of you know React.js is developed by Facebook, and we know how fast Facebook works. All posts and videos, images are loaded in a minimal time, and suppose someone posted something on Facebook, then all the comments, replies, and replies, likes, dislikes, all comes within we can say it comes whenever without delay. So it all happens because use of React.js. So let's move ahead and take a look at how these advanced JavaScript and React.js um, uh, fasten our development, and how it efficiently works for our front end development. So in an MVC architecture, suppose we have lots of data. Suppose take an example of GPS data. Uh, if you take GPS data of near about 1 week or 1 month, then it contains near about 15,000 or 20,000 records. Then if we hit if we show these 15,000, 20,000 records or GPS data on a map or something, then with the normal browser or on previous version of browser like i8, i7, our browser will get hanged. So if we and the latest browser also support the latest our advanced JavaScript syntax and also that's why it becomes easier to show big amount of data in our browser also. Suppose if we show 20, if we are showing 15,000, 20,000 records in a data tables or something in a tabular format of our web page, then it will take at least 1 to 2 minutes to populate all the data in a tabular format. But with the use of advanced JavaScript, it will automatically map your data to your table element, right? So we will see how this works and how we implement our advanced JavaScript concept into our UI development. Okay, let's move ahead. I'm just going to okay. In a basic JavaScript, we know how to declare variables, how to write basic functions, and how to call Ajax, and how to get on a particular event, how to call JavaScript functions, correct? And from JavaScript function, if we call any Ajax and get some data, then how to populate those data into a HTML page. These are the basic UI things. In a UI development, we do these things. But in an advanced JavaScript, we can do this all these in a smart way. Um, uh, the first thing in advanced JavaScript is functions, the advanced functions of JavaScript functions. Okay, so in a functions, basically in JavaScript, we write normal functions. Let me write some code here. Then you will get understand how we write functions and how we call them, and how in ES6 how a new syntax and a new concept comes or JavaScript and how it fasten our development. So suppose I'm just writing one function ABC. Okay, and if I write anything, let me take some example from our upgrad. So here they have given these examples. I'll just open these example. I have downloaded these examples from upgrad lessons. uh, you can also download it from here. You can download all JavaScript code from here. So I'm taking the same examples. Suppose this is a function. If I run this, if I run this, then you can see this is a basic syntax of JavaScript function. We use a function keyword, then function name, and inside the function we can do anything. So and we can call the function by directly calling the function name. Okay, and this is the basic example of a JavaScript function. We use this syntax every time. Let's see what changed uh, in the advanced JavaScript. So let's take some examples of JavaScript. First of all, what is function? Function is a set of statement which performs a certain task. Right? Uh, same. We use this kind of functions methods in other languages also. So there is nothing new in the function definition. So I'm directly jumping towards the parts of the function. We always use function keyword, function name, its parameter, and its body. This is the basic syntax of a function. So we here also we use this syntax and call this function. and in this way we can call any function, and this is the output of the function. When we call this function, this is the output. You can run JavaScript in browser's console, so no need to download any tool or something to execute this JavaScript function. Yeah, yeah, this is also a basic thing. We can define any function in a constructor also. So we can declare function in the form of constructor. Suppose we have to define a function constructor which returns the addition of two numbers. Then we can declare in this way also, like this. This is a function, and this is a constructor, normal constructor. You know what is constructor. Uh, uh, and I will take what is you know what is constructor. Then also I will explain in next slide. So if you know, just write the answer. What is the function constructor in a chat section? You can write. This is the question for you. Just write what is a function. Just write the function constructor. Just write 2 3 lines. If you know, I will explain in later here. Till the time you can write in chat section what is function constructor, and if you have any doubt, you can ask in Q&A section. Okay, I'm moving ahead. If you know what is a function constructor, just write in chat section. I will explain it later. Okay, anonymous function. Function can be either named or anonymous. Uh, Let me take that. Here you can see there is no function name. We only write the function keyword and its parameter. There is no function name here. Let me take you direct example. This is my personal project. I can show you the first check. This is the project structure. Um, in SRC folder, all our server side codes go here. In resources, all our project related properties file goes there. And in our web content, we write our JSP pages, our CSS, JavaScript, images, everything goes in our web content folder, right? Okay. Okay. Sandeepan is asking, can you explain why we are passing strings in the constructor? Uh, with example, why we are passing? Okay, you are asking how we are passing or why we are passing. Actually, you can in a JavaScript. In a JavaScript, we declare a variable by only var keyword. Okay, all the primitive data types like string, integer, boolean. We can also use these data types, but to call any function with with the parameters, we can you can see this is the function, and we can directly write any parameter here, like first name, last name, like this. You don't have to define its data type. It will automatically map to its variable. Suppose I have the upgrad example. We have example here. Here you can see. Uh, okay, I just copy this example. Actually, it is recursion example, but you can see we are sending count as a parameter to a board list function, but this is integer. You can there is no data type limitation in JavaScript. You can send string, you can send integer or anything. You don't have to define, or you don't have to declare that this function will only accept string or only accept boolean or integer. You don't have to define, or you don't have to worry about that. JavaScript will handle or will take all these taken care by JavaScript itself. So you don't have to worry if it is a string or integer or something, right? So in this way you can directly pass any parameter to a function, JavaScript function. So Sandeepan is asking how we are sending. One second. Sandeepan is asking, can you explain why we are passing string in the constructor? Okay, you are asking why we are all string in a constructor. You can pass anything. Not only string, you can pass anything, boolean, integer, or anything. You know the concept of class, right? Class, object. You know, one second. Sandeepan is saying, I mean, why we are passing that parameter return? Uh, okay, okay, one second. Sandeepan asks, uh, return num1. No, one second. I think he's confused. Let me explain him. Function. Suppose I am writing addition function, right? Okay, and this addition function will take two parameters, number one and number two. Okay, like this, and this will return the addition of two numbers. So I can write directly like this. Write like this: number one plus number two. Right? This will add these two numbers. So the function in a JavaScript you don't have to write like in Java we always write its return type or something, right? If what uh, function is taking as a parameter and what it is returning. But in JavaScript we don't have to declare those things. We don't have to define data type. We can take string, integer, or anything, and we can directly add and return those numbers by adding them, right? So you can write like this. In JavaScript, you can write like this. Okay. Uh, I mean, why we are passing that parameter plus number two. Please see the first page of the module. Okay. Okay, you are saying first page. Okay. Let me go back. You are saying this, Sandeepa. You can write any number of parameters. You can take a string, integer, anything. What you are asking? Okay, what is your question? You are saying why we are using string as a parameter or what? You are written why we are passing string in constructor. Yeah, you know what is constructor, right? No, the one below. Okay. No, I did not get you. First, tell me what is your question? You are saying why we are passing string as a parameter, right? See, it says return. Sandeepan, can you copy and paste here? In chat section? Just paste what you asked. These are the different types of function declaration. You can define with any type. You can see here. I have directed with the function name. I have declared here without any parameter. You can pass parameter like this or anything, and you can directly write function and like this. There are many types of function declaration. You can declare like this also, or you can assign to any variable also. You can define like this also. You can pass here parameters also. There are many ways of defining functions. Okay, so all these are explained here like this. uh, Here you can see you can declare like this. You can declare like this also. There is only function and function name and okay, you are saying about this example, Sandeepan. Declare function, function and constructor. You can also declare function in the form of constructor. Function constructor. Okay, Sandeepan, you are answering to my question. I think you have some doubt. Okay, right. We can define in this way. You are answering my question, or you are asking me a question. You have any doubt on this or something? Yeah, you whatever you have right is correct. Okay, you are answering my question. Okay, yeah, that is correct. I think you have. Okay, you have a doubt. Yeah. Yeah, you can write like this. What is the problem with this example? Actually, what Sandeepan is saying, he has pasted like this. So, what is the problem? This is just example. You can write in any way. Yeah, as a param, you can send like this. Actually, this is the function. Okay, let me like this. Okay, I'm just copying this and running this example. Okay, and I'm just okay. Okay, I understand what you're asking. Logger dot log. Okay, I'm just printing here sum. Is it correct? Okay, sorry, console.log. Can I write like this? As you can see, the third parameter goes inside the function, right? Yeah. Actually, what for other one second. Okay, okay. Let me explain this. What Sandeepan was asking uh, here, this what is this third parameter? Actually, we can say this is the string parameter or number parameter. This is one is another parameter, and this third line is this is not a parameter. This is a return statement. But if I assign it to a variable and print this, check please check this line. The third parameter goes inside the body, right? And if I run this, if I run this and send any number to this function, then it will return me the addition of these two numbers. Okay, this function will work. Okay, Sandeepan, I think I have cleared your doubt, right? Okay, let's move ahead. Yeah, these are the different types of defining functions. You can define in any way. You can define like this with the anonymous function. You can define like this also with the function name, function keyword, and function name. You can assign function to any variable also. You can define with the new keyword also, right? Actually, how constructor works. Actually, constructor is the you have work on object oriented programming, like right. We have class and with the constructor is the function with the name with the same function name, class name, right? So we can define create this instance with the new keyword. So with the new keyword we can declare any function like this. Okay, and we can assign to any variable. Okay, let's move ahead. I think we have very less time, so let's move ahead. We are in function declaration only right now, so we have to move fast. So we can pass function parameters by value and by reference. So in JavaScript, mostly we pass the parameters by its value. All the primitive data types have pass by value functions. Whatever parameters we pass is act as a pass by value, and in objects sometimes it is pass by reference, and sometimes it is pass by value. Whenever we very in very less scenarios we use a pass by reference. Mostly it is pass by value only. If we take example what Sandeepan has just shared, or this example, this is passed by value. We are directly passing the value of a variable. We are not passing its reference, right? The reference is only used with the objects, and most of the time objects are also passed by value, but in some scenarios it is passed by reference. We just check what is passed by reference. This is example of pass by value. We are directly passing the values, and pass by reference is, let's check, if the internal structure of object is changed. Suppose I have one JavaScript object. It has three uh, variables inside, declared inside, and I have added one more variable inside. Then I am changing its structure, object structure, right? Then it is passed by reference. Okay, let's take some example. Let me first read its definition. If the internal structure of objects is changed, then it behaves a pass by reference, and any change made to the internal structure of the object is reflected in the final object as well, right? Then this is a pass by reference. However, if the object primitive parameter itself is changed, then no change is reflected in the primitive object. I just explained you the primitive data type as number, boolean, string are all by pass by value, but the objects that can both pass by reference and pass by value in the case of these two. Okay, let's see here. Suppose we have a object, we created object y, and inside object we have suppose name, its address, phone number, like these member variables, and we are changing the member variable of that object. Then it is passed by reference. Okay, and I'm just keeping this because we have to cover other points also. I'm just these are just the how pass by reference works. So these are the basic things. So I'm just keeping this. If you have any doubt about this, just type in Q&A section. I'm just moving ahead because we have to cover lots of points, and we have only 30 minutes left. No, 1 hour left. Okay. So these are all about functions, how we return, how return keyword works, how this keyword works. Okay, this keyword. Suppose let me take some examples for you. Do we have some example here? Okay, let me take this example only, and I will type here. We have variable var x equal to 1. Okay, and I'm just suppose, and okay, okay, this is the example. This keyword example is already here. So if I'm in this example here, browser, I'm just running this example. um, okay, we have one function here, um, and inside this we have a function which we assign to this uh, print the member variable of this object. Okay, we have one object, JavaScript object, where we have two properties, or we can say two member variables of it, name and print. Okay, so for name variable we have this value of this name variable, and function, this function is assigned to this member variable. Okay, so if I call this object dot its method, then I just write this dot name, then this will refer to its member variable only. Okay. Then this console.log will print this board name is JavaScript. If I run this, then you can see in this print function. This function can access the name variable from inside function also. So you can call, suppose we have a function inside a function, or then a child function can access its member parent function member variable, right? So we can access those members by this keyword. This will refer to its what we can say, from its scope, its local scope. We can say like this. So if I change some values, can I edit this one? Okay. I'll edit this one. I will write. I will assign some values here. This dot name equal to. I'll just write some values here. Uh, this is test. Okay, so I can modify this name value also, because this is the member variable, right? This is in its scope, so I can change its value also. So I was explaining where we use this keyword. So uh, whatever in the its scope, we can call its parent member or something. We can use directly this keyword. uh, I think it's explained in better way here. So we'll just go through this. uh, I think we have some example of this keyword also here. Okay, let me see this. Any JavaScript function can be used as a constructor function with the new keyword. I just explain you how new keyword works. Whenever we declare a function with the new keyword as a constructor, then we can use this new operator creates a new object and sets this to the new object inside the function. It's called, example, you can see like this. Yeah, we can use this keyword like this. Okay, suppose let me copy this example. I think this example is here. Okay. um, we have a desert function, and it has value. We are passing by value x. So the name we are desert, and we are directly pointing. Okay, let me copy this example. Yeah, you can see cookie is printed here, and you can see we have function with the name desert. Okay, it is taking a value x, and it is just assigning it to name variable. Okay, so right now we have another variable y, and we are calling the desert function with the new keyword. That means we are creating its constructor. We are creating a constructor of this function and passing value cookie, right? That means we are passing this cookie, and it is going to x, and x is assigned to this dot name, and we are just printing y dot name. You can say uh, we have created a constructor and assigned the constructor to our variable y, and we are printing y dot name. As you can see, we are not we have desert function, right? We have this function. Okay, and we are creating a constructor of this function with the new keyword, and we are passing this cookie value to the function, and we have assigned this x variable to this dot name. And right now you can see what we are printing, y dot name. Okay, that's why it is printing cookie. We have because we have passed it to its variable, and it is assigned to this dot name. So we can write y dot name here. Okay, let's move ahead. So this keyword, in most cases, the value of this is determined by how a function is called, and it can't be set by assignment during execution. and it may be different each time the function is called. Okay. By default, this refers to a global object. In JavaScript, a global object. Okay, what is a global object? Suppose whatever variable I have defined outside any function, that is global. If I define var x equal to 0, so then this is a global variable. I can use this x in any function inside this JavaScript. Okay. If you want to see more examples about uh, how we use functions and all, then you can see. Actually, this is jQuery. We use dollar with the jQuery. So yeah, you can see this example function. This function is without name, right? And we are calling this function like this. Suppose on a blur, don't worry about blur function. We can write anything on click or anything. On that event, we are calling this function. So we are passing function um, as a value, as a what as you know, we just pass function some parameters. So here to this function also we are directly passing some. We can directly pass function as a parameter, as you can see like this. We have this in our next page. So I will explain that in next page. So we are seeing how this keyword works. So this keyword refers to its uh, objects, the global objects. So okay, if you just type this and enter, then you can see it refers to our window, and you can debug it how this refers to our all objects on the page. If you just type this keyword in a console and enter, then it will show all the objects or all the elements of the window. You can access any element of this window with the this keyword, this dot, and just write any properties. You can see any property of these windows, right? Okay. Yeah, just do it yourself. Type this keyword in your browser console and press enter. And if you want to see any element value from your page, thus just type this dot, and it's any element. Then it will print that value to you. Okay, maybe this dot cookie is there, so I just write this dot. You can see cookies is there. So cookies contains this. This is the cookies value. So you can print, or you can access any value of the page with this keyword. Just write this dot, and any element from the page you can see its value. These are the all the Windows element. You can access any of these. Okay, just try on your browser. Okay, I'm just moving ahead. Yeah, I just explained this. Okay. Yeah, I was just explaining we can change name values also. I just give you example here. Same thing is explained here. Uh, this is the function, and we call change function from that outside this function. We call this method from outside this object, and we just call its object dot change. We have function inside this object, so we can call it like this, and we can change its value also with this keyword. You can change like this. If I copy this example, I'm just copying and running this example, then you can see the value is changed. Actually, the name value was cookie, but I have changed this name value to this, and just call this change method, and you can see the value of this name object is changed. You can see output of this function here. Okay, I'm just showing here console.log result.name. So it will show this value. So there are many ways to declare any function to access its inside member variable. We can declare JavaScript objects like these, and inside objects we have this member variable. To a member variable we can assign any function also, and from that object we can call those member variable and its related function, and we can access it like this. Okay. So when a function is called with the new operator, this refers to the newly created object inside that function. Like this, we are just we have called this. Then it can access its member variable inside function also. You can see name can be used inside this member function also. Okay. So there are many other methods also: bind, call, apply. We can directly call with these keywords. As you can see, we have a method hello, and we are just printing. That means we are write to console.log, and we are just printing its first name and last name. But this first name and last name uh, is from the person object. So we just call this function name dot bind to this person. This array, or we can say this is the, suppose this is JSON object, and I assign this to a JavaScript variable, and I'm passing this uh, what do you say, I'm binding this object to the hello method, and so that I can directly access the member variable of this object. As you can see, we have hello method, and inside hello method I'm directly writing this dot first name, this dot last name. But this first name and last name are the members of this person object, and I'm accessible to this member variable because I have bind this object with this function. That's why I will be able to print this member variable inside this function. If you want to see, I just copy this. I'm just running this. Here you can see I can this output of this program is just printing hello Jimmy Hendrix. As you can see, this is the separate object, and these are the two member variables of it, and this is JavaScript object, two member variables and its value, and I'm in a hello function I'm directly writing this dot first name and this dot last name, not person dot first name or person dot last name. I'm not creating constructor of this object. I'm directly binding this object with the hello method, and if I bind this object with the hello method, I will be able to access this object's member variable with this keyword, right? Okay, I'm taking next example. Um, all of these examples are these keyword examples. So I'm just moving ahead. You can go through this. Recursion. I think everyone know what is recursion. Uh, Calling a function inside the same function is the recursion. So you can check this example for recursion also. I think here we have example of recursion. This one. We are calling the board list function from the same board list function, like this, right? So I'm just copying this example. As you can see, this is the board list function. It is taking a parameter as a count, and if count equal to 0, then it is printing new board created. If it is not equal to 0, then it is printing calling board list again, and is calling board list, and we are passing 3 as a parameter. Then what it will print? It will print first it print calling board list again, calling board list again, and it will decrease count variable by 1, and whenever it goes to 0, then it will print new board created. I'm just executing this example. Then you can see it will print calling board list again 3 times, and then after that it will print new board created. Here you can see the board list function is called from inside the function. This is recursion. Okay, Sandeepan is asking, can we bind one function to another? Okay. Uh, bind, what do you mean? How we bind one function to another? We can bind any value or something. Uh, what you want to, what you want? I don't understand. What is the situation, or why you want to bind one function to another? You are saying functions are objects. No, function and objects both are different things. What are the objects? Objects is nothing but, suppose I have class and objects definition, right? Let me explain you. uh, Objects, suppose I have object obj like this, and I have some it's a member variable. Suppose take the example of student. Okay, student and in a function, student have properties. Its name, suppose Ramesh. It's the last name. You can say Gupta, like this. This is the object. Its address or anything. This is the object, right? And whenever I say student dot name, then it will return me Ramesh, right? Then this is the use of student. We can this is the use of object, right? From the object we can assign n number of properties to a single object, and we can while accessing those object, we can get any its properties value, correct? So object, how object oriented programming works, right? So we everywhere we use objects, and objects, with the help of object we can retrieve its properties, uh, we its properties, right? And if you want to write its suppose it has students have marks, so I can write function inside objects also. So I just assign it to some like these marks, and I can write like this uh, function, right? I can write like this, and inside the marks I can add subject 1 plus subject 2 marks, like this. I can write like this. Whenever I need marks of a particular student, they can I just have to write student dot mark. Then it will return me in the addition of these three subjects marks, right? That's why we use objects in our JavaScript. Okay, I think you all of you know how to use objects and its member variables, how to write functions inside objects. These are the basic things. Okay, let's move ahead. I was explaining about recursion. Recursion is nothing but a function inside the function, calling a function, same function from inside the function. So I just give an example. Of, yeah, we have taken this example, recursion example. same board list, and we are calling board list from the same function, and we are sending count variable, and we are every time we are decreasing it by one, and initially we are sending 3 as a parameter count variable value. So if I run this, then it will call. This is the output of this. So first it will print this calling board list again 3 times, and after that, whenever count value goes to 0, then it will print this line. And the main thing is, whenever you write any recursive function, you must have to write some condition to exit from the recursive function. If you don't write any condition which will exit it from the function, then it will continuously execute the code, and it will hang your browser or something, because it will continually get executed. So just you have to remember one thing: whenever you write any recursive function, then you must have to write any such a condition from where it will get exit from the recursive call. Okay, this is the nothing but the recursion example. Uh, I think other examples are also related to recursion. So I'm just moving ahead. Yeah, we always see the factorial program with the help of recursion. So you can write a factorial program with the help of recursion. Uh, you can try it here also, and you can run it from here also. I think this is model one. I'm just moving towards the advanced concept of JavaScript. So, we have very less time, so I'm just moving fast right now. If you have a doubt till now, just ping me or type in Q&A. So advanced JavaScript, some new concepts are there in advanced JavaScript, like callbacks, promises, array operations like map, reduce, filter, async calling of any JavaScript function, apply, bind, call. So I'm just let me take example of callbacks. Uh, yeah, you can. This is the example of callback. You can send as a function as a parameter, and you can inside this function you can write any condition to execute those callback function. Let me check if you have any. We have any example of callback. Yeah, like this. Yeah, this is example of callback. I'm just maximizing this. Yeah, this is my function. Is confirm. Okay. This is my Ajax. Okay. If it is actually we are Swell is the library where we show if user clicks on OK or cancel. Suppose we are deleting some records or something, then if user confirm it, then we delete the records, right? If we get a successful response, then only we redirect to some pages, right? So the is confirm is nothing but a function or boolean value. We just check it and send. Actually, we put it into a function. This is the function, and this is the boolean value actually. So I was checking callback function. Let me check. We have callback example. Don't have callback example. Okay, let me check here. Um, this is the same thing. Okay, uh, there may be some examples ahead. I'm just clicking on next. Or you guys have any example about callback? Just ping in chat section. Uh, okay. We can take an example. Okay, callback function. Suppose I'm just writing syntax, writing some one example here. So maybe some syntax will be there. So suppose I have one uh, anything function. I'm calling one function. Okay, function ABC. Okay, and it takes the function as a parameter. So function may be anything. I can say only xyz, and this xyz is nothing but another function. You can see function xyz, and it has something inside it. I can write do something. I'm just writing do something here. This is xyz function. I'm while calling ABC, I'm just sending xyz as a function parameter. Okay, while calling ABC function, I'm sending parameter as a function, and this function has some logic, some code inside the xyz function, and I'm writing some, doing some stuff here, do something, some code is here. Okay, and I'm just checking or just if do I'm doing something. If it is suppose I'm calling some Ajax or something, or taking some input from user. If it is successful or failure or something, then I just write some condition. If success, then call this XYZ. Right? You can write like this. Okay. If failure, then you can call. You can show any alert or something. Failure like this. Right? So I'm calling this function only if it is get success, and this is nothing but a parameter of this function, right? And this is a function. Yeah, I can say it's a callback function. This is a callback function. You can name it anything. I'm just for understanding. I'm writing this callback, and if it is any success or according to your condition, your logic. If you want to execute on particular condition, then you can write conditions and call those callback function. If you don't want to call it, you can show any alert message or something. So, and the main idea about the callback function is if you want to execute some function or particular scenario on success or failure or something, then you can send function as a parameter of another function, and call those function only after a particular condition. So this is an example of callback function. Okay, so let's move ahead. Scope and closure. You know the global scope, local scope of variable, right? So suppose take this example. I'm declaring this x as a global variable. This is outside. This variable is not inside any condition or not inside any function. That means this variable is a global variable. So global variable accessible from anywhere, right? And for a local variable, suppose inside this function I have declared this variable x, then this is a local variable, and this global variable have a scope of everywhere in the code, but this local variable have access to inside this block only. So if I call this function and wanted to print the x, then it will print only the local variable, because the uh, it is in the scope of this curly braces. So if I print this x variable, then it will print this value only. If I print x outside this function, then it will print this cookie value. Okay, this is nothing but global and local scope. Yeah, and block scope. There is a new concept, let. We always declared variable with the keyword var, with the help of var keyword, we always declare a variable in JavaScript. But with in advanced JavaScript, we have new keyword named let. That keyword assumes the original value. Suppose let's directly take an example. This let keyword will work only in a newer version only. This is not present in older version. So this keyword assumes its the original value and no longer retain the value assigned to it, like this. And it take this example. Actually, it blocks this scoping. So I'm just copying this example and I'll execute this. As you can see, uh, inside this function, I have this variable x and assign this value to it, and I'm just printing this variable. It is printing the same value. Okay, because this scope x has a value this, and it is in the scope of these curly braces, so it will print this one. But I have printed the x inside this function, and it will print the value of cookie, because it is inside the function, but it is accessible. Its the scope is with the global variable, not with the this local variable, because this variable has scope is in its curly braces only. So let keyword uses the blocking scope, so it assumes it's the original value, which is cookie. Okay, so I think you understand now why we use the let. So it just blocks the its scope. It just whatever previous scope of the variable, it just blocks its scope. So we use let keyword for blocking scope. Okay, there are more example about let, so you can go through with this. I'm just moving ahead. These examples. Okay, these are all the, I think, basic. Okay, hoisting. I can take this example. So yeah, here in this example, you can see we are assigning 5 to this variable name, but we are declaring this variable after the assignment, right? And this will work if I execute. Actually, syntactically, if we whatever JavaScript we learned till date, if we see this code, we can say it will throw an exception for undefined something, but it will not. It will execute this function. Suppose I'm calling this. Okay, I'm just clearing. I'm calling this function. This is the function, and right now I'm calling this uh, print name function. I'm calling this print name function. As you can see, my name is file. It is printing this value. It is not throwing undefined value. It is printing it. I have this function, right? I have declared this function, and I'm just calling this function, and it prints the actual value of name. But the name is declared after this line. As you can see, I'm assigning the value of name to 5 uh, uh, before its declaration. If we know the with the basic JavaScript, it will throw undefined error, but it is not throwing the undefined error, and uh, it is executing this one. This concept is nothing but hosting. What hosting will do, it we are declaring it inside these curly braces, right? So it will automatically what we can say, put this line to the put this line initially. It will automatically do this. Let me read this. It is a process through which variable and function declaration are virtually moved to the top of your code, right? I just said this var name will automatically move to top of this code, and this will execute properly and will not throw any undefined exception. right? Oh, this concept is nothing but hosting, and this is the advanced JavaScript. So it will automatically taken care by JavaScript only. So we don't have to worry. It will throw some exception or something. It will automatically move this line to the top of your code and will execute it properly, right? Okay. This concept is called a hosting. Okay. Um, Yeah, what says variable declaration are moved. This is the output of this function when we execute. Declaration automatically move to upwards, and yeah, yeah, this will not work because JavaScript only hosts a declaration, not its initialization. This will not work. If I copy this one and try to execute, let me copy previous example. This was working, right? So I just copied it. uh, I think I can't edit in console, so I just copy here, and I'm just paste it upwards. Okay, so right now I'm just getting this print name. Okay, okay, I'm going to execute this one. I just put this console.log to upwards. Here you can see it is showing undefined. What I did, I just put this console.log to upwards. And why this is not working? Because JavaScript only hosts the declaration, not the initialization. Because we have initialized it later and declared it after that, and we are accessing it before the initialization. That's why it's not working. Understood? If you're in doubt about this, just ask me. Okay, let's move ahead. Other examples are also there about scopes and closures, so you can check that one also. Uh, do you guys have any doubts? Just ask me. I just explained how callbacks work and event bubbling. Uh, Actually, in JavaScript, you know how to use set timeout. Right now, I just explained callbacks and the async behavior. You know what is synchronous and asynchronous code. All right. Okay, let me explain. Um, Synchronous code means that if you have two lines of code, S1 and S2, then S2 cannot begin to execute until S1 has finished executing. This is synchronous code, right? We write code one after like this. I just explained this hoisting example. Whenever in a synchronous programming, this line first execute. After that, this line will execute, right? First, it will go to this line, and after that, this line will execute. This is synchronous programming. And asynchronous programming is, you can read the definition here. You can have two lines of code where the second line of code can execute even before the first line of code. First line of code finishes. This is asynchronous program. And how we achieve this one? This happens through very interesting things in JavaScript sometimes, which we call as a callbacks. Yeah, I just explained callbacks. So callbacks is nothing but your asynchronous program, because we have that JavaScript function, and we called it previously, but we are executing it after its successful or failure scenario. So it is nothing but your asynchronous program. The first function is not completed, and we are directly calling second function inside that function. So this is nothing but the asynchronous program. Before finishing the first function, we are directly executing the second function. That is your asynchronous calling, right? And same thing, promises. Promises is the new thing. Actually, whatever you are executing, sometimes we always check with the if condition. If it gets successful, then this. If this successful, then this, like this. But in advanced JavaScript, we have some new keywords. uh, so we can see this in the next page. But these are nothing but the asynchronous thing. We just execute those functions, your methods, or your line of code in between of any function or before completing any function. uh, we directly call those lines of code. So this is nothing but your asynchronous program. So in our advanced JavaScript, lots of new keywords came into picture, and they work as in a asynchronous manner. So these are callback functions. All these are promises, and your uh, success, failure. All these are the asynchronous keywords. Works as a asynchronous. You know how to use set timeout. After time, after some particular time, your code will execute. Take this example. Here we are just printing begin text, and after that we are calling set timeout, and we are giving this 2000 millisecond as time. So after the 2000 millisecond, the inside line will get executed. It will stop your execution for this time interval. So set timeout only allows code to be executed after some trigger or after certain amount of time only. So this is the use of timeout. I will give you some example. Take example of map. I'll give you example to you. All of you use Google Map, right? On a Google Map, suppose you have taken some Ola or Uber journey, and you are tracking your journey. Suppose you have uh, checking your journey from Mumbai to Pune, and it is a real-time data, and it is continuously plots arrows on your map, how your journey is going. So there is lots of GPS data, and if you are directly try to populate your data on map, then it will get hang, or it will take lots of time to populate the uh, road, or populate your arrows on a road on a map. So we use a set timeout or something to stop the execution for few milliseconds, so that um, all the other things get populated, or you can say to we just stop the execution until the finishing of other functions, right? Suppose we are doing plotting route on map, and the map is not loaded yet. Then what is the use of populating a route on a map? So first you have to load the map first in your browser, right? After loading of map, then only you can populate your route onto map. So you can stop your execution for few milliseconds first to and you can check if map is fully loaded in your browser or not. If it is loaded, then only you can um, start your start to populate your route on map, right? So till the time you have to stop your execution, then at that time you can use set timeout, similar kind of thing in your code to just stop your execution for few milliseconds. So it allows your code to execute after some time. Set time, the main use of set timeout is you can allow your code to execute after particular time. So that is very the set timeout is very useful, and it's used in most of the environment, because sometimes you have to give some time to populate your other code. So always suppose let me give you some example. I think I have used set timeout lots of time. Let me search in my personal code. I just write set time out. Yeah, I have used it many times. As you can see, in a project, I have used it many times. Yeah, and here you can see set timeout, and inside that you can use a function also. This is the basic uh, data tables library. They have used set timeout because in data tables also we have to populate lots of data into data tables. So they have used timeout function. Uh, Let me check where I have used. In Bootstrap also it is used many times. In jQuery also it is used many times. In charts also it is used. In toaster, here I have used in my personal use. Here, here I have, yeah. Actually, I am populating some records in a table, in table format. Here you can see my loop is getting executed. So I have to stop my other code, or I stop my data tables designing for few. You can say 1,000. I have stopped it to 1,000 milliseconds because my number of records are in a high number. We have near about 2,000, 3,000 records. So we have to populate those records in table. So first I populate it to table. After populating all the records into table, then I have designed my table with the data tables. So I have stopped my designing code for 1,000 milliseconds. So set timeout you can use like this. Okay. So set timeout is very useful, and almost in every project we use this set timeout. Uh, Actually, we have very less time, so actually we have almost covered all advanced concept of JavaScript. Yeah, these map, reduce, and filter. For arrays, these are the new what you can say new keywords in advanced JavaScript. These map, reduce, filters are used with array. So these are very interesting concept, map, reduce, and filter. We directly take an example. Yeah, we have an array here with the number 1, 2, 3, 4, and we just map it. uh, Actually we are what we can say increasing, we are multiplying all values with 3. And how we can do this? Array, your array dot map function. Map will go to your will iterate with your all elements of the array and just multiply it with 3. So a map method creates a new array with the results of calling a provided function on every element of your calling array. If you want to apply something, or you want to multiply, or you want to do anything with the JavaScript array, then you can use the map function with your array, and you can add, delete, or multiply, do anything, and it will create a new array for you. And the resultant array, whatever calculation, whatever you have to do with array, just do it with a map function and assign it to another array. It will create another array, resultant array for you. Right now here we are just multiplying each element with 3, and it will create a new array with the multiplication of this number, like 3, 6, 9, 12. You can see it is multiplied by 3, and the resultant array will be 3, 6, 9, 12. Right. So uh, you know right now I explained you how to use a dot map method. Okay. These all three methods are work only with the JavaScript array. So these are very useful functions. And uh, map is used to create a new array with your resultant uh, what you can say whatever functionality you have to do with the array, you can do it and assign to it to a new array. So we will do with the all these with the map function. And next is the filter function. If you want to filter something from the array, then you can use the dot filter method. And actually these three methods are used um, in actually we use in every project in our project, because we always play with JavaScript array. And if we in basic JavaScript, we always use for loop, while loop, and we set it through all element, and we do calculations and all. But we always do map, reduce, filter different in a different way. We always write code for that and that. But with the help of these three functions, we can do anything. We can do any big calculation or anything with these three functions. So filter, just filter your array with some condition. Here in this example, it will just give you the odd elements from the array. It will just check the whenever we divide the numbers with the 2, the remainder will be 0. That means all the even numbers will get assigned to this even array. So we are just filtering the array array elements, and we are just taking even numbers from the array and assigning to a new array. I think that's too simple to just do this. If we don't have this filter method, then we just write for loop, and we just write those conditions just to divide it by 2 reminder. If it is reminder is 0, then we assign it to a new array. So we have to write lots of code for that. Audible? I just type in chat section. Yeah, I think I am audible. Just type in chat section. Actually, my connection got disconnected. Just type in chat section. Am I audible? Hello. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Abhinav. Okay, I was saying about the reduce method. So suppose I want to add all elements from the array, and wanted to play with all elements from the array. So I can write like this. I can use my reduce function with my array, and uh, you can write my logic like this. And I just read this definition of reduce method. The reduce method applies to a function on all elements of an array from left to right. It will always work from left to right, and one by one until all the elements in the array are reduced to a single value. Okay. uh, okay, it will not create a new array. Okay, and it will whatever logic you have written, and it will calculate all elements one by one, and will return only at the end it will return only a single value. It will not return any new array or something. Previous two methods will return an array, right? Dot map, dot reduce, these two functions will return, will create a new array, and the resultant array will assign to array, right? But with the help of reduce method, it will do whatever logic you have written, and it will always return a single value. uh, it will always return a single value. It will not create a new array or something. Okay, next. I think we have lots of things, all the advanced Java concept. Um, so I'm just closing this session now, and we'll take React JS session in next session. Right now we already uh, complete more than 2 hours, I think. So I'm just closing this session. If you have any doubts, uh, just type in Q&A. I will take reactions in next session. If you have doubt up to this, just ask me. Okay, then I'm just stopping the session right now. If you hand out, just ask me. Okay, then. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.